This podcast is a member of the Place to Be Nation family. Visit us at placetobenation.com, the only place to be in your pop culture world.
Everybody sees every week how bad Garvin beats up everybody and takes them with that big fist. But I tell you what, you see how AA is taking everything and giving it all back.
Okay, Arn Anderson in some big trouble right here now. Arn Anderson's in big trouble. Tully, we got Ron. Okay, that's it. There's been a disqualification because of Blanchard running in, David. Tully, put the boost to him. What are they going to do to him? It's that double gourd buster. Oh, no! What are they going to do? They're trying to position him for something. Ron Garvin's out. Look at him. They're trying to position him. Look, what are they going to do? Oh! He used his boot on that right hand. Well, Arn Anderson is still the world TV champion.
Down there! You want something to take on AA and myself? Garvin, you're not going to be using that illegal fist ever again! Ever again! You saw to it! We saw to it! The Fist of Stone is out of commission forever! Simple as 1, 2, 3.
Place to Be Nation Wrestling, welcome to episode number 37 of NWA Crock and Roll. And yes, I have returned. I am your host, Sean Kidd. I am back from scouting 1987 Crockett Cup locations. I cannot divulge where that will be tonight. I will divulge that at a later date, but I would first like to thank my co-hosts for what they did for the last 2 parts of March. They actually stepped in and did a great job, and probably not the last time that might happen, as real life sometimes takes form. But I would first like to say thank you to Mr. Colin McDougall. Colin, how are you? Thank you for being the host on our last 2 episodes.
You're very welcome, Sean. Thank you for taking over the reins on my show for the next couple of. Joking aside, no, it was a pleasure. It was a pleasure. Our esteemed colleagues helped me along. So I can't take all or any of the credit, because I was steering the ship, but a bit nervous to begin with, but we got there eventually.
Yeah, and I appreciate it, and I appreciate you letting me coming back to host your show. So thank you very much for that.
You're very welcome.
All right, and second up, Dr. G, how are you tonight?
Good. Welcome back, Sean. It was I want to say Colin did a phenomenal job stepping in for you.
He did.
And he you do a great job with the show, and it was seamless. He did an awesome job. It was a fun time, and things are heating up here in Crockett, so we're getting into the thick of things here. I think this year we're gonna really have a good time watching a lot of the stuff.
Yeah,
so I can't wait to break it down.
Yeah, we're getting into Crockett Cup month, and I'll talk about that in a minute. Not just the real life NWA, but also in the 86 NWA. And last but certainly not least, Scott Shiflett, how are you tonight?
The band is back together. I feel so much warmth in my heart that we're going to tackle a new month of Crockett here. March of 86 was so jam-packed. It took us a couple of months, and we're now in April. I am shocked that we have a new month. I thought March of 86 was just going to go forever.
Well, you might feel that way after what I tell you about April. So, yeah, it is good to have everybody back together. And I know there was a lot of conversation. I've been listening to NWA Saturday Special, and Scott keeps bringing up, man, there were 4 parts of March, and that was just jam-packed. Well, I got news for you guys. April is even bigger because, unfortunately, not unfortunately or fortunately, but based on time constraints, we have 7 parts to April of 86. It is all mapped out. It will go all the way through Crockett Cup to the last week of April, so there is a lot to cover. But we are going to cover it in depth. As you know, I like to go very, very detail, and I think April might be for me, it might be for us, because I've kind of scanned ahead a little bit into 86. April might be the busiest month of the whole entire year for 1986, which is saying something when you consider the Bash isn't even here yet. But, man, this one is a doozy. So before we jump into it, I would just like to say a couple things about the last episode, particularly. I did not see the Shaska Watley, Pez Watley promo coming, and just like you guys, I was totally shocked and surprised. I never thought in the history of this pod I would ever see a Jimmy Valiant angle where I would be excited for what's going to happen. So I really appreciate you guys covering that one. That for me was probably the biggest takeaway of March. Is there was a lot going on, but that is a huge surprise angle that I have not seen coming. So that was really cool. But as we start April, so this is part 1 of April. We are doing April 5th, 1986. So to start it off, we'll go through our champions list. World champion, still Ric Flair. U.S. champion, still Magnum TA. Our national champion is Tully Blanchard. TV champion, Arn Anderson. Our Mid-Atlantic champion, as you guys documented on the last set of shows, Black Bart coming out of nowhere to win another title. So I don't think any of us were clamoring for that. But I was surprised, just like you guys were, on how good that match actually was. Our tag team champions, the Midnight Express. The 6-man tag team champions, the Russians and Baron Von Raschke. And our junior heavyweight champion, who is most of the time out of sight, out of mind, Mr. Denny Brown. So, guys, with that, are you ready to jump into April 5th, 1986? Are you guys ready?
Let's do it.
All right. So first thing we're going to bring up, we have a house show. And I went back and forth with Colin. We were trying to research, like, all the house shows that I have on this pod or that we do always has a date. This one I put as the unknown. And we were trying to guess where it was from and all that. But, Colin, I just put Spring House Show 86 because I want to keep it a mystery until I figure out where it's at. So, but I think Mr. McDougal will be very happy with the first match we're going to cover from this house show. It is yet again another Magnum TA versus Nikita Koloff match. I feel like this is like our 100th one because I feel like it's nonstop with these guys. It was in a cage for the United States title. So different match, different environment, cage match. So kind of like we already know this feud's heating up. And we're not even in the summer yet where they're in the best of 7. So we have a cage match already here in April. So to start it out, Nikita attacks TA as he comes in the cage. The announcer is still doing the intros as he beats Magnum up. He throws TA into the cage multiple times and then pushes Tommy Young aside, which I think we all probably love because a lot of Tommy Young hate on this podcast. Magnum TA is now bleeding. Nikita misses an elbow and hits the cage. TA throws his shoulder into the cage, and then there's a hokey-looking atomic drop spot into the cage that Nikita sells like $1 million. TA gets a nice pile driver for 2. Then both men grab the other's hair and charge a cage, and both go down. And then Tommy just randomly starts counting to 3 while both are down, which makes no sense whatsoever. Then it is announced that the first man to the feet will win. TA is up first, and he wins. This was a weird cage match, guys. I was digging it until the end. I've never seen in the history of wrestling where he just counts to 3 on 2 people being down, and they said, okay, well, the next person that gets up wins. It's kind of some Dusty-level booking shit here. And probably some of the weirdest cage bullshit ever. But I thought it was an interesting way to keep them both strong because they didn't want to both lose. But I kind of enjoyed it till the end. I actually went 2 3/4 stars on this, and this was 10 minutes. So, Colin, as our resident Nikita Koloff stan, I will let you go first on how you felt about this match.
Well, I think, first of all, I think we need to coin the new phrase, Tommy Young bullshit.
Yes.
Just creating arbitrary rules to suit himself. I think he couldn't, I think this is blatant, couldn't be arsed continuing to do his job, and he's thought, these guys could go forever, I'm just going to call it now. First guy to his feet wins. Very, very shady officiating indeed. I've also got the note that I loved at the start, that when the ring announcer's still going, even though these 2 guys are started, which was made even funnier when they announced Magnum to a massive pop from the crowd as he was getting his head rammed right into the cage. But yeah, other than the very strange officiating decisions from 5-time NWA referee of the year Tommy Young, I thought it was really good. I have been higher than most on these on this series so far. Slightly lower, however, tonight. Starting off controversially, I've gone 2.5 on it. So slightly lower than yourself, Sean. But I thought it was another good outing from these two.
Interesting. Maybe I could win higher because it's been a few months since I've done this show, but I thought it was a solid 10 minutes. And what I do like about these house shows is they also cut through the boring stuff and get right to the gist of it. So I thought that was pretty cool. But yeah, that ending, man, was absolutely something. Scott, what did you think?
Ending was crap, but I really enjoyed this match. This was, they've had some stinkers before, but I really enjoyed this. I will say that Magnum did it was like a pile driver, but like he went forward with him with Nikita, which I thought was really cool. These guys just beat the hell out of each other, and there was a part where, there was a part where Nikita like headbutted Magnum in the nuts to get and I just liked that. And I liked where, it's in my notes here, where Nikita was trying to elbow Magnum and he elbowed the cage, and then Magnum started working on the elbow. I thought that was just nice, and it shows that these guys are just two big brutes. I went 2 3/4 as well, Sean, which I really thought I was going to be the high man on this. I
was pleasantly surprised because I, out of everybody, have really shit on these TA Nikita matches, and I just couldn't do it this one. I enjoyed it. Dr. G, what'd you think?
Not much more to say than you guys did, but I went 2.5 like Callum did. Now the reason I think, I was confused. When you don't have the announcing too, so you're like, okay, what are they doing? Like, what is he doing? Even if it was, I'm not really for whatever he did in terms of like whoever gets up, but even if he did a 10 count, that makes sense because in boxing it's 10, and sometimes even in wrestling, if they both go down, they count to 10. But this whole thing, whoever gets up first wins. I just didn't get it. I thought I was a little confused, but other than that, I like the intensity on the two opponents. You could tell that as time went on, because they've obviously wrestled on a lot of house shows in this feud, that there was a good camaraderie. They really worked well together, TA and Nikita. Now, we've seen some matches that weren't so great, but I think in a match like this, because of having the cage and Nikita, for the most part, is a brawler. He's not a scientific wrestler. He doesn't claim to be a scientific wrestler. So TA has a little bit of that scientific wrestling in him, but he also has that brawling that he could do. And I like this one because I like the back and forth. I like the fact that they have the cage to use as a weapon. And besides Tommy Young screwing it up, I don't think he made the call on that. That was probably a booking decision, which I don't get. But I guess I don't get it, but then I do get it in the fact they try to keep both guys still strong in the feud. So probably would have went a little higher if it wasn't for the end. But I did enjoy the match. Like, I didn't find myself being like, okay, there's no announcing. I'm kind of not really, the camera angle's not so great, but, I'm kind of bored. No, it was actually an enjoyable match to actually sit and watch. It actually went pretty fast, I thought.
Yeah, it was 10 minutes, and I'm with you. It's kind of like hard without the commentary, but I think I literally had to rewind it a couple times just to kind of figure out what the hell the ending was, because it was real hokey. But yeah, I thought it was pretty good. And it's not the last Magnum TA Nikita match we'll have from a house show. In a couple episodes from now, they have one more that is coming up as we round out our house show run with these things as we get into the Crockett Cup. But overall, probably one of the better ones that I've enjoyed. So, Callum, it sounds like not one of your favorites. So, but Dr. G and you were on the same page, and Scott and I are on the same page. So, pretty decent match, but really shitty Tommy Young bullshit ending. All right, our next match, this one should be fun as well, is Tully Blanchard versus Wahoo McDaniel for the national title. So to start, Wahoo dominates with chops and does one of those little standing face rug burns on Tully's face. Tully grabs the tights and throws Wahoo outside. JJ throws Wahoo into the post while the ref is distracted. Tully goes for multiple pins as Wahoo just lays there, which is really weird. It's just like a whole little section there where Wahoo just lays there and Tully's trying to pin him. I don't know if Wahoo is winded or probably on brand, I guess. Wahoo gets up, does more chops, does an abdominal stretch that Tully and Presley hit tosses out of, which wasn't easy because Wahoo's a big dude, so I thought that looked really good. But then he gets tossed, but then he gets tossed outside. There's more pinfall attempts. There's a lot of pinfall attempts in this, like 15 in like the first 6 minutes. Wahoo does a chop off the ropes and then does a pin that JJ breaks up. Wahoo grabs JJ and then Tully does a knee to the back, and the ref counts 3 as JJ holds leg down from the outside. Ref catches that on reverses decision. Wahoo beats up Tully until Jimmy Garvin comes in and hits Wahoo with a chair, and then a bunch of preliminary wrestlers run in to save but are dispatched until Magnum TA comes in. I thought the match was pretty decent, but I love the after angle, especially for a house show. So Garvin and Wahoo have just been heating up, and then we'll reference later Wahoo brings up in a promo about being hit with a chair, and I assume it was from here. So really nice synergy there from a house show into what they do into this feud, and then to a show we're going to talk about here in a little bit. So, Scott, I will go to you first. I actually went 2.5 on this one. Scott.
We are way off here. This match sucked.
Really? Shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
I did not like how Wahoo was basically on his back like a turtle for half the match.
But I think for me it was more about the after angle than the match. I thought the match was just okay.
Oh no, I love the after angle.
Yeah.
Like I really thought that was good. Like we see Jimmy Garvin has been talking trash, and we finally see him attack Wahoo, beating with the chair. That's my exact note, is that Jimmy attacks Wahoo with the chair after the match. I love how these angles this one thing I really love about Crockett is how all these angles, you're not on an island by yourself like we see with WWF, like even in 1986 and even now. But I just thought this match was bad. I'm probably going to catch hell for this. I'm giving this 3/4 of a star.
Wow, I don't think it was that bad. But okay. All right. Well, color me surprised. Dr. G, what'd you think?
Well, Scott, I didn't go as low as you did. I went, 1.5 stars, but Wahoo, I always heard such great things about him, and I kind of remember him when I was younger. Obviously, he was.
Column has poisoned all of you. It has officially happened at this point. Go ahead, Dr. G.
For that time, I know that we have guys wrestling in their 50s today. It's just a different world, but obviously he was getting up there in age at the time, and he wasn't. And I probably have to go back and watch some matches from the 70s, maybe, but. I mean, if you can't get with Tully to have a great match, I mean, I don't know. It was disappointing. I expected actually a better match than this. I like the after angle. That probably saved the whole thing, to be honest.
Okay. Well, I thought the other thing that saved it was only 8 minutes of match, so probably that didn't.
Yeah, no, if it went longer. I think everybody's scores would have been different, but. I didn't rate it as bad as Scott did, but I mean, I thought there was some decent parts of the match, but the after angle probably gave me, brought it over the, over the 1 star for me. So.
Wow. Okay. I'm way off. And Colin, I assume that you're not going to be any better or any different than anybody else except for me. Go ahead.
It's my first match. Didn't go in. My first comment. I didn't go in automatically thinking it was going to be rubbish. I said, I hope this is a fight more than a wrestling match, per my recent praise of Wahoo. Oh no, it's a wrestling match, and there's a chin lock within 30 seconds. This isn't going to go well. Nothing is happening. One positive on it is I did my Wordle during this match. 5 out of 6 for. I made it far too difficult for myself with the first 2 words, but I got there eventually. So that's only 5 you'll be hearing for this match. Thank God for Jimmy Garvin.
Good Lord, man.
It would have been an improvement. After last month, it would have been an improvement anyway. Thank God for Jimmy Garvin. I feel so bad for Tully. 1 star.
Wow. Well, I guess I'm the high man on the totem pole. I guess that's what happens when you take a break from the shows and you need your Crockett love. So, wow. All right, well, I guess I'll just eat shit on that one, and we'll move on to the next one. So not a great score for Tully and Wahoo. All right, our third match, another Ric Flair versus Dusty Rhodes world title match. So I'm curious what you guys think about this. My first note was Dusty came out to Midnight Rider, which I don't know if you can make it out in the background over all the cheering, but I definitely made that out. Dusty right away gets a quick figure 4. Rick sits up, and Dusty just smacks him in the face. Flair later takes a powder, and the ref stops him from leaving, and then Flair pushes him, and the ref also smacks him, which Flair getting smacked by Dusty and the ref all in the span of a few minutes was pretty great. Dusty does some limb work and dancing punches. The camera guy's yelling, "Oh, God," to Dusty, the guy holding the camera, as he knees Flair to the gut. Flair gets a nut shot in front of the great Tommy Young, who does absolutely nothing about it per usual. Flair takes control, but Dusty comes back with elbows and a suplex. He throws Flair into the ring post. Dusty throws Flair into Tommy Young by accident on a whip and gets a small package. Baby Doll pushes other ref outside, who's checking on Young, into the ring. Dusty gets a clothesline to Flair, gets 3, but foot on the ropes. Flair pulls Dusty down in the corner. A pin attempt with his foot on the ropes. Young pushes the foot off. Flair goes after Young at that point. Dusty hits Flair from behind, knocks both refs down. There's a cover with no ref again. Flair pulls the Dusty boot off and hits him for 2. Baby Doll gets up on the apron, and Flair maniacally goes after and attacks her. Dusty then grabs the boot, nails Flair, and gets the 3 count. The second ref saw the boot shot to Flair, and then he DQs Dusty as he was celebrating with the belt in hand. Dusty leaves with the belt anyway as Flair lays in the ring. Again, God, I hope I'm not overrating this match, but I absolutely loved every minute of it. I know there was a lot of chicanery and BS, but man, both Flair and Dusty were just on fire in this match and might stand out now as one of my favorites. I was torn. I think I went a little too high on this one. I was going to go 3 3/4, but I actually went 3.5. So I will go to you first, Dr. G.
I really enjoyed this match because I know I've seen a lot of Dusty Flair matches when I was younger, and a lot of this same stuff with the false finishes and all that. So that you kind of expect. That's why when Dusty did beat him a couple times for the championship, it was such a surprise because it was always this kind of stuff going on. But you definitely could tell they have a chemistry, to work together. Dusty's not a scientific wrestler, so he's never claimed to be. So he just more was of a showman. But I thought I felt like at least it wasn't just like a typical match where we've done this 100 times. Like they put some energy into it.
That's a good point. I felt different. It didn't feel like your typical Flair, Dusty house show. Like it just felt like they actually went out of their way to do something different. It felt
exactly.
Different. Yeah.
I mean, the false finishes thing that's happened, but just the way they went about, in the match, getting Baby Doll involved, that stuff, getting the managers involved. That stuff is what people sometimes enjoy. Obviously you give a little pop to the crowd thinking that he won the championships, you overturn it, that kind of thing. I mean, they just did that a lot at that time. So it is what it is with that. But no, I definitely the 3.25. I was really happy with the match. I don't know if you and I maybe just, I'm interested to hear how Callum and Scott rated, but
I have too, especially
after
the
really enjoyed it. I don't know. I again, when I know that I'm not like looking to do something else while I'm watching it, then I know it's got me. It's going to get at least a decent score. It's going to be 3 or higher. So, and this one did it for me.
Got it, Colin. What'd you think?
I really enjoyed it as well. I went in thinking it could have gone one or two ways, given how we've seen previous Dusty Flair matches. They're going to be really, really good, or it's going to be paint by numbers, Flair and Dusty, and thankfully it was the very, very good one. I had a note about Dusty's entrance theme as well. I thought he was coming out to the theme song of the highly acclaimed podcast Highway to the Impact Zone. But I'll take your because I think Top Gun was coming out very, very soon after this. However, I'm more than happy.
I'll have to go back. I'll have to go back and listen to it. You may be right. I thought I double checked it twice, but I could be totally wrong. I will double check.
It would make sense that it would come out to Midnight Rider, to be fair. But so I'm happy to defer to your greater knowledge there, sir. Also noticed that the guy who was filming it was a massive Ric Flair fan.
Yes. Yes.
But the match, it's far exceeded my expectations than I thought going in. I thought it was really, really good up until they sort of started the finishing sequence, and I thought they were trying to be a bit too clever for their own good. I do have one of my notes is fucking Tommy Young again.
Yes.
The Ric Flair fan wanted Flair to kill Baby Doll, which I thought was a bit over the top.
It looked like he was going to, man. Ric Flair went nuts on her.
Oh, I mean, it all got a bit. I mean, it was wild, but the finish was wild and it got crazy at one point, as you say, because it looked as if he was going to take Baby Doll out. But It was, yeah. I think they were just trying. It was a bit too. They were trying to be a bit too cute with it. That being said, I've gone 3.25. I think it's brought down slightly by. I've really enjoyed it up until the sort of the move to the finishing sequence, and it just took it down for me a bit. But no, I've really enjoyed it.
All right, and Tommy Young is starting to become the best bumper in Crockett, by the way. He takes more bumps than anybody on a regular basis at this point. So we all hate him, but it's a tragedy.
Which is shocking because he's a referee.
Yep. They do that. They do this. I mean, you start now that we're like 37 episodes into this show, and we've done literally a year of Crockett. It's very obvious that they do a lot of the same shit with Tommy Young. So that's one of the things you discover as you go in just great detail, and it's interesting to see they do this stuff at house shows too. All right, so 3.25. I went 3.5. Schiff, what'd you think?
I guess I was in a mood after watching the past two matches. These three were from the same house show, right?
Correct. Yep.
And you wonder why Crockett went down the drain with these shitty endings.
Yeah. Well, the endings, yes, but yes, of course.
If I was frustrated as watching this on YouTube, I would not have been happy with the Pain fan. Yes, the crowd was rabid, but come on, like it's just ridiculous. I didn't feel this match as much as you guys did. I don't know if it's just because I probably should have walked around a little bit, maybe went to the concession stand after that Tully and Wahoo debacle. But I just thought this match was blah. We had the first ref bump because for some reason there was two refs outside. There was one ref from the inside and one ref from the outside. Dusty got the first visual pin right there. And
well, if you remember, a while back they were talking about having two referees. There's one of Dusty's promos. Well, I guess we'll have two referees. I think this is one of those deals where they did that at the house show.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. So we had that, and then we had the dreaded Dusty finish where I remember as a young kid watching VHSs of like Clash of Champions where I would think like the Steiners or Sting would win, and they're like, nope, they threw him over the top rope. Dusty finish. And I don't know. I just didn't feel this match. I feel like I've watched better matches between these two guys. I went 2.25 stars.
Man, we're all over the board tonight.
I'm sorry. Like I really thought y'all would be more in line with me on that. To be completely honest,
you thought wrong.
I know. I'm legitimately shocked.
Wow.
But the thing is, I'm not shocked about the false pin. They did that stuff at house shows just to kind of pop the crowd, get the crowd to come back. I mean, that's just their formula at that time. But I used to go to a lot of WWF house shows, and you'd get nothing when you got you knew automatically there was never going to be a title change. At least they kind of gave you a little bit like that possibly something could happen with these shows. But too many false finishes. I agree with you, but I thought I just thought they had more intensity than some of the other matches that we've seen.
And that's what I felt too.
With them in this watch, I'm saying I've seen obviously better matches between the two, and other things that I've watched over the years. But for the ones that we've watched so far,
yeah, I mean, I thought there was a different energy. Here's what I do like about these house shows. This one in particular, and the matches, we can say whatever we want. I mean, if you look at the first match, we got a cage match. We got something different that back in 1986, none of us would have understood them doing 3 counts on a cage and the first one wins. Like even as much bullshit as it is at a house show. I'm probably pretty stoked about that because my hero Magnum TA won a match, and I didn't really give a shit that it was BS, and then Tommy Young did his stuff. This is us, like, here we are, 2022, picking apart 86. So we got that. Tully versus Wahoo. You can say whatever you want about the match. The after angle was great. WWF didn't do matches like that where they did house show angles like that after. And then Flair versus Dusty. You know what? You talk about them being repetitive. This one brought a different energy. I could tell you by hook or by crook, Hulk Hogan's matches were verbatim the same match at every single house show. So that's what I like about these is there's diversities, there's differences. Yes, there's similarities, but at least they do stuff different that would make me want to keep going back to these house shows if I were a fan. That's my takeaway. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know if you guys have any thoughts on that.
Well, I mean, just like the silly endings, like, and how many times, like, since they're doing these loops, can you see Dusty get the win for the world title, and then Pee Wee Anderson run down and it's reversed?
But Schiff, remember in 1986, not everybody saw that. My point is,
we're seeing
that on a pod all these years later. Back in those days, you would have gone to a local house show and you'd have no idea what finish they did in Timbuktu versus what they're doing there. That's what I'm trying to say.
No, I was saying because they always did like Greensboro like every couple of weeks. Like, hopefully they would change it up.
And they do. And that's the thing. They always change it up because we've seen numerous Nikita and TA matches. Not one's ever been the same. I don't know if you thought about that. But,
I agree with that. They're usually just really bad, but this was actually a pretty good Nikita.
Well, there you go. So we can debate it all you want. I was giving a different perspective and thought.
I agree. I enjoy it. It's friendly discourse. So
absolutely. So I mean, no shit takes on that. I get everybody's opinion on this. The Wahoo match. I guess I shouldn't be shocked, but I am. But it also could be my own fault for not getting to watch Eddie Crockett for the last 2 months. So. All right, so we're going to move on. So that is the house show. We will have one more house show to cover in a couple episodes from now. However, we are now going to go to the Saturday night show. And first out is Magnum TA, and he's out with the beautiful, the best U.S. title that was ever created with a very scarred head. He says he's tired of all Nikita's talk. It seems like he's been doing it for months. Then he throws it to a video that shows Ivan winning a match against Rocky King. And then Nikita comes in with a chain and beats Rocky King with it. TA comes in, he drop kicks Ivan, and then he ducks a Nikita chain shot. And then TA dumps Nikita over the top rope and starts choking him with the chain, which was a really cool visual and pretty hot angle. They did these angles a lot, whether it is in chain matches or bull rope matches, but still pretty cool to see on TV. TA goes back into the studio, says nothing intimidates him. He says this is about the U.S. title, and for some random reason, he decided to say, and they make steel in the U.S. Let's get it on. So I didn't really understand that last line. But I thought the angle was pretty good. I thought the promo was pretty good. I thought Magnum showed good fire. I love his scarred head because it shows the battles that him and Nikita have been in. So in night 86, we haven't seen any of those matches we've been talking about the last few months. But here's the repercussions. I could see it on his head. I'm like, holy shit, I got to go see one of those matches. So, Colin, I will go to you first. What did you think of this TA promo?
I thought it was good. I liked the video recap of Koloff beating down Rocky King. The chain shots looked absolutely brutal. And the pop that Magnum gets when he comes out is ridiculous. I mean, it's absolutely outstanding. The reaction that he can get. I mean, he is. I think he's probably more popular than Dusty at this point. I think he is the number one babyface in the company at the minute. Because everything he touches, the crowd is just all over. And then the hanging bit at the end. Oh my God! I was not genuinely not expecting that. I think I had a double take watching it because I didn't expect it to come from sort of goody Magnum TA, but if he's been driven to that point now, so I think it's just it was just really, really, really good. Magnum's promos are hit or miss sometimes, but if you can intermingle it with video recaps of angles like that, then you can look past a couple of flubbed words here and there.
Yeah, I also like, it's kind of a slow build, right? You just throw in nuggets here and there every week. Like, take the house show aside. It's like, if we weren't watching the house show matches, but if you were just watching the weekly program, I love how every week there's a different nugget or added layer to the feud. And they're not even into the heat of this feud yet. We're still like 2 or 3 months away from this really going full on. So it's kind of cool how they just lay it out. It's really neat, I think. I like that. So, Scott, what did you think of this promo?
Oh, God, Magnum was amazing in this promo. I loved it. Like, he was just so ferocious, and like he wanted him right then and there. And then you see the footage of Ivan beating up some opponent. Then Nikita's whipping the guy with the chain, and the crowd just loses their mind when Magnum runs in. Like, that's what I would want to see, like, going to a house show, is just that stuff, because you can just hear the roar of the crowd, and it's just for just about every wrestler on this roster right now. They're over to some crazy ass degree, and I have here a Russian chain match coming up, which, as we're recording this, we just had an AEW chain match the night before, and, there's some dissenting thoughts on that, but I would love to see these two guys have a chain match, and hopefully it's on one of these shows so we can see it.
Yeah, that'd be good. I'll reserve my comment on the said match that you referenced from last night, and I'll skip
Yes,
over that.
we'll skip over that.
Yeah, controversial takes on that one, but I'll leave that one alone. Dr. G, what did you think of this TA promo?
Scott, I agree. Just the Magnum's intensity is unbelievable in this promo. And again, remember, I was very critical of him in the beginning, but he's definitely, you could see they're making him, he's making himself the top babyface, really, to be honest with you, because the crowd, I mean, when he came out in that video, the crowd erupted. And like you said, Scott, I think a lot of the wrestlers in this territory are over, but Magnum's definitely the guy they were going to give the championship. It's a shame, because it would have been interesting to see him as NWA World Champion, because the fans loved him. I mean, and you know what it is about his promos? Okay, he's not going to give you that flashy Ric Flair or that entertaining Dusty Rhodes promo. He's just that real promo. Like he could wrestle in the Attitude Era, in this current era, where, you know, probably teach some of these guys, where just you feel what he feels. And when you could do that, where, you know, he just wants to rip apart this Russian, and he would just be, I think he would be awesome even today, because he just has that realness about him. Like, you feel like you want to be on his side. You want to fight for him, because he's so believable. So a very good promo. Again, you can't compare him to Flair or Dusty, don't get me wrong, but I like the realness that he portrays in his promos.
I love, listen, he could have said whatever he want. For me, the visual of him with his scarred, beat to shit head with that U.S. title, that just fired me up.
I love that U.S. title. It's my favorite.
God, man, that is like my favorite. Like, I'm actually staring at it in my office right now, and I love that belt so much. But him, just like him with that scarred head, holding that belt and freaking just on fire, just,
even though the girls kind of liked him, and he still had that rugged look to him, you know, with the scarred head, and he really, really earned to be world heavyweight champion. It's just a shame what happened to him.
I would have killed to gone to see a match between him and Nikita, but based on what we've seen, maybe it was better that I didn't, because it kept me fired up to see the long-term game. So, all right, so good promo there for Magnus. So we're going to move on to our next set of promos. Continuing the Jimmy Garvin and Wahoo McDaniel feud. It's two very different promos. It's like a tale of two cities. So this next promo, guys, I might like quite a bit, probably more than I should, because it's very funny to me. Jimmy Garvin comes out, says he has some depressing news. Says Wahoo's pride has gotten the best of him, and he came off the reservation, and he came looking for Garvin. He says Wahoo better not ever mess with his squeeze ever again. But that's not the bad news. The bad news is he's talked to doctors, and Wahoo is not the same. And the only thing I thought about when he said he's not the same, I was thinking, oh, yeah, this is probably a reference to his age underlying, which I love. But he goes, the doctors have told Garvin that Wahoo has swamp fever, and he won't face Wahoo until he brings him a doctor's note. The doctor told Garvin there's two ways to confirm swamp fever: if his nose is big and ugly, and if his hair is falling out like Wahoo's. He tells Precious to spray the air as he won't get in the ring with this disease. Wahoo is a lame horse, and you know what they do to them. This promo was tremendous. I will read the Wahoo retorting that, and I'll ask you both for your all of you for your thoughts. But I absolutely love this. Might be the best Jimmy Garvin promo you'll ever see, based on what I know. In later years, when he joins the Freebirds, and all I know about Jimmy Garvin usually is he says, yeah, a lot, but this was amazing. We go to Wahoo. He is told by Tony Schiavone he is sure what Garvin has said about him. He says yes, but he's always had a big nose. And then he goes into this diatribe about how he broke it 11 times in 10 years of football. And hair and nose has nothing to do with it. He talks about getting hit with the chair, which I thought probably was a reference to the house show he talked about, which I thought was pretty cool. He says out of the goodness of his heart, he signed a contract, and if Garvin can beat him, more power to him. He hates to think where Garvin will be when he's done with him. So as great as the Garvin promo was, this is unfortunately a pretty on-brand lame Wahoo retort. So, Scott, I will go to you. What did you think of these two promos?
Yeah. Jimmy Garvin knocked it out of the park with that promo. I was laughing like
I was dying. Okay, so Scott, because you're pretty you're not always proper. Did you first thing that came to his mind when you said swamp fever? Did you think swamp ass?
Yeah, I did.
I figured.
I was like, oh my God. But like him saying how his nose is swollen and if his hair is falling out, I was like, oh my god, because Wahoo's nose looks like it's been broken like 15 times. It's pretty big. And like how he said he won't wrestle, it's like a classic heel maneuver where we're sort of seeing the same thing, like going back to the Nikita, where he won't wrestle on TV unless he gets to face Magnum on the house shows. And so it's stuff like that, and it's just another heel like saying like, yeah, I'm not going to wrestle. And the promos we had with Jimmy Garvin in March, they weren't really nothing to write home about, except for the one where he was like, I wasn't going to do this interview with the crowd here, which I thought was awesome, but. I just love this, and how he said he calls Wahoo a lame horse, and you know how to put them down. And Wahoo's was basic, but it's just showing it's like two different generations. Like Wahoo's on the generation going out, and like Jimmy's like the current generation right now. So of course, like I think Jimmy's is more upbeat and everything, while Wahoo's like, I'm gonna wring your neck, young folk, stuff like that. But
I'm gonna beat your butt, you young whippersnapper.
I mean, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah,
like he's like,
yeah.
I'm in a good mood, Tony. It's like, are you serious right now? Like this dude just like called you out, said you left the reservation, said you had swamp fever, aka swamp ass, and now it's like, oh, my nose has been broken 11 times. That's why it's so big. And like, he never says anything about the hair falling out, so it's because he's old. I'm assuming, but I hope Jimmy takes him to the pay window, baby.
Yeah,
we'll see what happens.
We'll see how that plays out. Dr. G, what do you think of this Garvin promo and the Wahoo?
I don't think there's much more. Scott, I can't even follow you because you just laid it all out. I mean, I think the most ridiculous. First of all, Jimmy Garvin was awesome. I mean, I was cracking up the whole promo. But Wahoo's response was absolutely pathetic.
Oh, so bad. From
what's supposedly a tough guy. I mean, it was just all. It's like he's just not comfortable. I don't know. It was horrible. As good as Jimmy's was as bad as Wahoo's was. Oh, it was awful. But Jimmy's very entertaining in this promo, and he was just having a good old time. He probably figured out Wahoo isn't going to say much to me anyway, so I might as well have some fun with this because he did. He just didn't hold back. So I enjoyed it. I enjoyed his promo, but Wahoo was pathetic. I mean, I wouldn't even want to get into him. Honestly, I do not remember this feud from back then. I remember all this other stuff.
I do, but what I don't remember is how entertained I am by Jimmy Garvin. Like, the Jimmy Garvin stuff, like, for me, the most part I got of Jimmy Garvin, like, really remembering Jimmy Garvin was when him and Ronnie reunited after that whole Fireball incident with the Express, which we'll cover in 87. But from that point on, it was like he was babyface Jimmy Garvin. I don't really recall getting a lot of heel Jimmy Garvin until he joined the Freebirds, and at that point, he was kind of cooked. So
no, he was, but no, his great promo. I enjoyed it.
Really good. All right, Colum, saving the best for last on the Jimmy Garvin Wahoo thing. I'm sure you have a lot to say on this one.
Well, yes. The Jimmy Garvin one, very strange promo. Basically, he doesn't like Wahoo because he thinks he's ugly, and he won't wrestle him again because he's ugly and is riddled with some form of disease. More on that in a bit. The Wahoo response, was just utterly pathetic. It was a waste of television time. It was only on the screen for about 90 seconds, and it was about 89 seconds too long. As one big thing is, I've got a big nose because I've had 11 broken noses, and I've had 11 broken noses in 10 years, and strictly speaking, he's had one broken nose 11 times. But that's a 1.1 broken noses per season that he was in pro football. My one thing of that is, was he just tackling nose first?
I love you did Snyder math on the nose breakings. That's very funny.
Well, thank you. If you're tackling nose first, was the position nose tackle named after his nose breaking prowess? It seems. I know they weren't wearing face masks, but that just seems inordinately high. However, I did do some research into swamp fever. You'll all be happy to know. Swamp fever is better known as equine infectious anemia, which affects horses, donkeys, mules, zebras, and other equine family animals.
Oh my.
And it is a retrovirus commonly transmitted by blood-sucking insects, which is why it's often confused with malaria. Now, if he said it was malaria, then you would go, okay, he's got malaria, that's very unfortunate. You take a tablet, you'll be fine in a couple of days. However, given the fact that he called him, what was it he said? What was it he called him at the end?
Oh,
a lame horse.
Lame horse. Yes.
A lame horse. Okay, layers to this promo. From my basic research, I am only assuming that Garvin is talking about the actual swamp fever. He's backhandedly accused Wahoo of being inappropriate with one of the aforementioned equine species.
Oh my God! Oh my goodness, God.
So, on the face of it, harmless, but the layers we're talking about, Jimmy Garvin's a smart guy. The layers that we're talking about here, I think, that's quite inappropriate for 6:05 in the afternoon.
Wow. That take would definitely be something I would have expected from Scott Shiflett, not you, Colin.
Yeah, I thought that was just made up, Callum. Yeah.
I'm only presenting the facts, Sean.
Okay, I appreciate your medical diagnosis research. It's pretty spot on. I thought we were going to go the route of, hey, you catch this, and I thought you were going to go somewhere along the lines of where Wahoo McDaniel was responsible for COVID-19. I thought we were going to go there at some point.
Well, you're assuming, when I say he's done something inappropriate, you're assuming that it's something,
Well, I am, you know me, so yeah, of course.
I mean, it could be, COVID-19 allegedly came from somebody eating a bat, okay, still to be confirmed. He could have just had some dodgy horse meat somewhere. He could have been inappropriate in more intimate fashions, but we don't know. Maybe we'll find out in a couple of weeks' time on Saturday night.
Oh, man. All right. Well, that was a cute take I certainly wasn't expecting, but I'll take it because I was very entertained by it. So at the end of the day, the Jimmy Garvin promo is absolutely amazing, and Wahoo continues to disappoint as we go. And unfortunately, guys, we have a lot of Wahoo in 86 and a lot of Wahoo coming up in May and April, actually. So we'll string along through it, and we'll just hopefully Jimmy Garvin can carry that feud. All right, so then we're moving on. So we have a segment here with Arn Anderson, and he is defending the TV title against Ronnie Garvin tonight in a rematch from one we watched a couple of shows ago, which was really good. So we'll do the promo, and we'll talk about the match, and then I'll go to you guys. So Tony, as Arn comes out, has a tough title response today. Arn says, a few weeks ago, Ron had a chance of greatness on TV. He brags about not being all talk and a fighting champ, unlike Dusty. Puts his reputation and meal ticket on the line each week. It's his belt, and he's earned it. Says he will fight all contenders. Nothing pretty about him, as an Anderson can't help but be full of pride and guts, and tells audience to shut up, as he is a champ for as long as he wants to be, and it has been Tony's pleasure. So then we'll go over to the match. So rematch from a few weeks ago, Arn Anderson versus Ronnie Garvin. This sets up something pretty cool at the end. So there's some good mat work between the two to start, which I thought was very believable. Garvin chops, headbutts, and punch to the head. He works the arm as crowd chants "break it" very loudly. Garvin gets another right hand that gives David Crockett absolute orgasmic joy. David Crockett absolutely pops every time Garvin lands a punch. There's more mat work between the two. There's a cool submission where Ron has his leg on Arn's neck standing up while butting Arn's arm. It looked really, really cool, really good-looking submission. Tully comes out and starts voicing his disgust at Garvin's illegal fist, and nothing has been done about it as he continues to cheer Arn on. More great back and forth. At one point, Garvin cocks his fist and Arn rolls outside, and in a camera view, you can see Tully at studio desk proudly displaying his national title in his arms, which I love it when they do this display. Like, he's just standing there at the podium, and he's holding his national title, but the camera got it right in view as Arn bailed outside the ring. Sometimes it's the little things for me. JJ also does a great job of selling in this match. There are two members of two top teams in the cup, and it could cost someone $1 million. So nice little twist there by, I thought, JJ throwing in. Arn starts to fade in a Garvin stretch, and Tully runs in for the DQ. Chaos ensues. There's an awesome double gourd buster by Arn and Tully, which I absolutely love the double gourd buster. They wrap Garvin's hand around the post, and Tully beats it repeatedly with his shoe. Tully comes back to the podium and yells he will never use that illegal fist again. The Fist of Stone is out of commission forever. Arn says they are the team at the Cup to beat. This was a fantastic match, setting up some good stuff between Tully and Garvin for the national title. All in between the angle and the match, I went 3.5 stars. But I will go to Dr. G first the Arn promo and then the match.
The Arn promo, I just love Arn. I mean, he always gets his Dusty digs in. You ever notice that?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. He's not lying. Dusty,
no,
he was a shitty TV champion. He's not lying.
And I just love how he played off that, and Arn's just phenomenal. I mean, we haven't seen a bad promo yet, so we're going to continue with that. Now, the Garvin Arn match, phenomenal. I gave it 3.5 stars. I loved it. I really, for a TV match, you can't beat it. And I love how the whole thing is because of the hands of stone, and they want to get at that hand, and how they took the shoe to the hand. I just love all that, all that detail to it. And I agree with you, Sean, and the angles of seeing, Tully standing there during the match with the national title. They always made their belts feel like they meant something, and they were much more than they probably were.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the one thing I love that the NWA did during this time. So, 3.5 stars. I mean, Arn and Garvin actually have pretty good chemistry as well, kind of like Garvin and Flair. I mean,
yeah. We get another match between the two at a house show in a couple more episodes, so we do get one more match between them. We'll get to talk about, so I'm pretty happy about that. But
I think we're right on par there with 3.5. Interesting to see with Callum and Scott. I can't see them shitting on the match, but I don't know if they'll go as high as us.
It's generational too, because there is a lot of mat work. There's a lot of things that the younger generation don't tend to like in this, so that's why I like to have it balanced out. But yeah, the after angle. The only thing I will say, maybe a little bit after angle, totally hitting it with the shoe. Maybe it could have been something a little bit better that could have sold how damaging the hand was on that post. But anyway, I loved it. So anyway, I will go to you next, Colin. What did you think of the promo and then the match?
Well, first of all, I thought the promo was excellent as ever from Arn Anderson. And you're right, there's nothing that he's saying that isn't true. Dusty didn't ever defend the title. Arn does defend it all the time. He is a fighting champion. He did give Ron Garvin a fair chance before. I give him a fair chance again. So it just goes with the what am I trying to say here?
Yeah, the best heels always believe what they're saying and tell the truth.
Yeah. They're always telling the truth. It's the unfortunate truth.
Mm-hmm.
The match itself was superb as well. I do have a note here. Now, don't shoot me down on this one, Sean. Garvin is good, but he's no Mike Jackson.
I did miss the Mike Jackson match. I didn't get to talk about that match, but I agree with you. Mike Jackson was an anomaly, man. He really
shockingly good match.
Yeah.
Now this was good. And I didn't think, for whatever reason, I thought this was. When I say this, I'm talking about the slightest of margins. But I didn't think it was as good as the Jackson match that we saw before. However, that doesn't mean that this was a bad match by any stretch of the imagination. I went 3 stars on it. I thought it was very, very good. We're talking this on free television is ridiculous, and that'll come up a couple of times in the next couple of episodes. That they're putting stuff out on free TV that nowadays you should be building for weeks and weeks and weeks to a premium live event. But yeah, this was excellent stuff from these two again, and I'm now coming. I can now see, if I hadn't already before, I can now see your love for the rugged one, Sean.
Thank you very much. What I assume you might have said it. If I missed it, I apologize. The after attack. Did you like that?
Yeah. Yes, I thought it was good because it plays into what they're going for next. As someone who is on the shorter side of things and does have to wear a fairly heeled shoe, the heel to the hand could be sore. I get your point. It might be more effective with a chair, or I don't know, a hammer or something that they would find under the ring. However, I thought it was really effective, and it going forward to what we see. Looking behind the curtain a wee bit here, but it does all play in and it all makes sense afterwards. I think it was very, very effective.
All right, very good. And Schiff, last but not least, what did you think of the Arn promo in this match?
As these guys said, the promo was great. I loved him telling Tony at the end, "You're welcome for my time, Tony." It's just, he's so arrogant, but he's really not saying any lies. Like, he defends the title almost every week. I mean, hell, we talked about the Ronnie Garvin match they had before, the Mike Jackson match, just in this watch through. And we see him battling Ronnie again. I liked how Arn was working the arm. So that's 10 times fast, am I right?
Mm-hmm.
But Ronnie then had a nice headbutt to Arn. And one thing that I love in this, they did this in the first match, is that every time Ronnie cocks that arm back to lay the punch, Arn bails to the outside.
Mm-hmm.
He's always 3 steps ahead of this out of this hillbilly. So that was just for you, by the way, Sean. And I liked when Tully came out. We knew that the Horsemen were going to attack. They always run in a pack together. Ronnie also, we've seen him and Flair chop the hell out of each other, but Ronnie was chopping the hell out of Arn during this match. And then we get the DQ, and I love, like Callan said with the shoe, I just think it looks better than a chair because you lose some of that. But if you're hitting someone with the shoe, you can see it more, and they can sell it more. So it's like something physical. Like a hammer would have been great too, but then it's like, okay, why the hell is there a hammer under the ring?
Mm-hmm.
But
I could have just got a hammer for the ring bell. That would have been great.
Yeah, that would have been nice. But no, I just love it. And they talked about how this might impact the Crockett Cup, and that's what they're building to. This is their next big event. And the quote unquote number 1 ranked team, because that's what Ronnie Garvin and Tully and Magnum TA is. Now they have someone with a hurt hand. So what the hell's that builds even more suspense.
Oh, I will tell you, knowing where this goes, we've got the Crockett Cup, but when we get to May, we're going to get a banger of a match between Tully and Garvin that we're going to talk about. That's on TV. So
and also the double gourd buster, just amazing. And if there is any wrestlers listening to this, please bring out the gourd buster, because that is such an awesome move to see. I don't know if it's just
the gourd buster in general. I mean,
it's just amazing. But a double gourd buster, it's like, oh shit, this is what we're doing. It's awesome. And I didn't know that the gourd buster was Arn's finishing move until I started doing this. I just assumed it was the spine buster or the DDT, but that gourd buster is just awesome. I don't know if it ends up hurting his knees. That's why he stopped doing it, but it's just an amazing finishing move because it looks vicious as hell.
Agreed. So what did you rank the match?
I'm the low man here. I went 3 stars.
Yeah, that's a shit take, but we'll move on. All right, our next promo. Yeah, good stuff here all around. Just really, really good. So we got a couple more promos to go. So selling some Crockett stuff here, and so Rock and Roll Express are out. Bring up what happened the prior week with Ric Flair, which you guys covered. Gibson says they have been training for the Cup and the $1 million. Ricky says they want the tag titles back. Then he puts over Flair as the champ, and then they show footage of what happened last week of the Flair-Morton altercation, which was definitely a hot angle. He tells Flair to never put his hands on him again. The goal is to be world champ, tag, or single, says Flair at the top, but he is beside him. Says when you are in a ring with him, you will get one good fight, and he walks off, and the freaking pre-pube women go absolutely insane for this promo. So kind of a short promo to kind of continue what happened last week. Colin, anything on this one for you?
Yes. Robert was looking very disheveled in this one.
It was a rough night.
It was. He was obviously hanging and banging with the night before. He looked like he'd been dragged through a hedge backwards. Other than that, fairly standard from the Rock and Roll Express. One of these promos that there was a lot of words said, but not actually a lot of substance in the words. It felt like he repeated himself a couple of times using the same words. Or using different words, but he was making the same general point. I don't want to say that today, with it being heavily scripted, is the way to go, because it's really not. But some guys might need a bit more than you've got 90 seconds. Go out and talk.
Yeah. That's why I put this here, because you're setting up a big angle and think showdown with Flair and Morton. Flair obviously is a freaking master on the mic. Yeah, Morton, especially Gibson too, but Morton, it's kind of the same thing. Rock and roll, baby. Yeah, and he's kind of like the same person over and over again. And I think they just put this in here to keep that Flair angle alive because of what we have coming on our next episode. So,
and I know we've previously ragged on because what was there was one really, really bad one where Dusty sort of interjected himself in a feud that had nothing to do with him. But he has enough talent behind the mic that he'll be able to he could keep this ticking over for them.
Yeah, it was when he brought in the cage, the Gorilla Cage for the Midnight Express match to put Jim Cornette in the cage.
Yes.
That one. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it was. I'm not saying that they need to have Dusty out there all the time because then that's just fingering the pie Dusty again. But they need something. This might have been better had they just had the match and then they could have played it off that they're out of breath. Ricky says a couple of words here, keeps it going. I'm coming for you, Ric Flair, sort of thing. But they're not known for their promo skills, so I can't rag on it too much.
Well, what you just said about maybe had the match and then a couple words, we might be seeing that in our next episode. So, spoiler alert. All right, Scott. Yep, Scott, what'd you think?
They're not really known for their talking, so I really enjoyed this promo from the Rock and Roll Express because Ricky says that Flair learned his lesson and that he's on his level, and I like that. And he said the World Tag Team titles is just as important as the World Title, and it shows that that he may just be as good as Ric Flair, which a lot of fans might not have believed in, but it was straight to the point. They didn't have him out there rambling for like 2 to 3 minutes. I know he's not that great. He sort of repeated himself saying they were going to win $1 million in the Crockett Cup. That goes together, Ricky. But no, it made me want to see more of the Flair and Ricky Morton match, which we'll get to in another episode. But yeah, those teeny boppers loved those guys, and Flair was not lying about the train brawl joke.
Dr. G, what'd you think?
Scott, I agree with you. I like. Ricky's not the greatest on the mic, but he got his point across. He didn't ramble on for too long. I did notice that he had to mention that not only he could beat Ric Flair, but so could his partner. Like he felt like at first he felt like he was focusing more on him, and it was kind of like Robert was in the back, and it looked like he was definitely trying to make sure his partner was mentioned. I don't know. That just seemed.
Well, there's a little that Shawn Michaels, Marty Jannetty vibe there with Gibson and Morton. So.
But I like the fact that mentioning the World Tag Team titles, is just as good as the World Heavyweight title, even though we know it's not. It makes the belts feel more important, just as important. And I don't think they didn't have to do great promos because they were just so beloved that. It didn't matter what they said, to be honest with you, because he was so over. But it kept the storyline going, and that's pretty much what that was put in there for, just to kind of make sure, hey, we're Ricky Morton's still here. And let me tell you, Ric Flair, one of his favorite opponents is Ricky Morton.
Oh, I'm sure the match. I can't wait to watch one of their matches. Well, again, spoiler alert. I'm sure. Yeah, we got a lot of good stuff coming up between those two. So awesome. Yeah. So kind of like that in between, but I also like both your points. He talks about being a world champion, doesn't care if it's tag or singles, and plus Gibson sells the Crockett Cup. But yeah, Schiff, I'm surprised with your inappropriateness. You didn't bring up anything about Gibson Cobra Eye.
I mean, that's to be expected. It looks like if you smacked him in the head one good time, it'll fix that eye, but it's all over this place.
All right, we'll move on. All right, so our next promo, I'm glad to get to talk about this one because one of the hottest angles that came out of March was the most unexpected thing that we talked about at the end of this pod, and that is Pez Whatley. So it's Paul Jones' army. Jones comes out, and he literally names everyone in his army and says he was the mastermind in Pez infiltrating Camp Valiant. He introduces Pez as the new Shaska Whatley. And Shaska is in a shirtless tuxedo coat and top hat, and he just he shakes back and forth. Like he might have been on a coat. Like he was just so full of energy and coked out of his mind. Whatley screams, look at this hair, and he holds up Valiant's cut hair in his hand, and he goes, Jimmy Valiant is a low-down, dirty dog, just like this yellow hair. And they say they have more tricks in '86. He says the war has just begun, and then Whatley goes, "Who's zooming who now, sucker?" Which, if you knew '86, "Who's zooming who" was an Aretha Franklin mid '80s song, so that was a good reference to the mid '86. Then he talks a little about Coltrane talking shit about him. Just for clarity, guys, you will never see Coltrane ever again on this show because he peters out really quick. I know you talked about him in March, but I just wanted to throw him in there so for me to come back and say, you'll never see the guy again. And then he calls Valiant a white Uncle Tom. And, man, Whatley has just added a whole new dimension of energy and kind of just rejuvenated Paul Jones' Army, who has a bunch of stiffs. So I am loving every minute of this Whatley stuff. So, Scott, I'll go to you first. What did you think of this?
I will say that Paul Jones looked like the Commandant from the Truth Commission.
Correct.
In 1997 WWF. He
is starting to formulate his long-term Hitler appearance. That's where he goes with this.
I mean, he, starting to really see that right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I love how he says, like, they're not in the Crockett Cup, but he says his army's going to New Orleans. He said this last month, where his army's going to New Orleans and going to destroy everyone. And then, like, obviously that doesn't happen. So it's like, what are we doing? Pistol Pez Whatley was all over the place on this interview. I guess, he had just
I loved it.
done some of Tony Khan's coke or something. But yeah, I did love him calling out Jimmy Valiant. And I don't know if you know this, but Paul Jones whispers in Pez's ear at one point and tells him to wrap up the interview.
Oh wow, I didn't catch that.
Yeah, because because Pez is like just rambling. And Paul just leans over, whispers in his ear, and Pez wraps it up in 15 seconds.
Kayfabe, pal.
I know, but it's like, I can't believe they kept that on.
That's awesome. I love it. Hey, it's live. We're live, pal.
Yeah, that's exactly. And he's like,
No, I missed that. That's a good catch. Dr. G, what did you think of this crazy ass Whatley promo?
It was amusing, I guess, is the best thing to do. It's like, it's so weird because this was a guy we lost a lot of times every week.
Yeah.
You didn't realize he had that personality, but I did love when he pulled out Jimmy Valiant's hair, and just because we hated so much on Jimmy Valiant in this show, and this is a feud, believe it or not, I do remember from that time, which is kind of weird because...
Well, it's mostly around the Bash time when they start doing those hair versus hair matches. That's what I remember. I don't remember the bill, but I remember those matches.
Yes, Scott, I did notice what you were saying, and I was like, that's interesting. Maybe Paul Jones got like some kind of cue, all right, let's get this thing wrapped up. It's so weird because he just collects all these misfits. I kind of compare it to how Austin Idol has his little group.
Mm-hmm.
This is what Paul Jones is kind of or that's what they're creating now, like the Paul Jones army kind of thing.
No, I agree, Dr. G. It's like the island of the misfit toys. You have, Pez Whatley, you have the Barbarian, then you have Tijo Khan, who, talking about cocaine, that man's eyes are like bugging out of his head. And you have Baron's part of that as well. So it's like some of you guys may do this. It's like doing like a fantasy football draft, and you're just picking all these random players from everywhere. That's really what it feels like right now.
It does, and I think that was done on purpose to put some of these mid card guys with a manager, kind of some small feuds, just to kind of give them some relevancy. So this way you can build a card. The way they built cards in those days, where they kind of, with the opening match up to the main event. So I think that's pretty much what it's all about. But Shaska was entertaining, but then he started rambling a little too much. So it probably would have been a good promo, like if he would have cut it off a little bit sooner. But it was entertaining, especially seeing Jimmy Valiant's hair. So I enjoyed that part.
Sounds like the Ho train is invading somebody's house.
I actually live by the trains now.
No, so. I know. I was popping for the train in the background. That was good. Colin, what did you think of this promo?
I've also got a comment on sort of the ragtag group that you see in front of you. First comment, obviously, Paul Jones, increasingly resplendent facial hair. but Pitt sitting standing at the front of the new group. He's in a wonderful hat, a fedora. He's got, I believe he had a bow tie on, a dress jacket, no shirt, and his wrestling gear. And he looked the most normal out of that group at that point in time. Wonderful cut, wonderful deep cut about the looking like the commandant from the Truth Commission. That's excellent, excellent insight from Schiff there. I love it. Pez 2 or 3 times almost interrupted Paul Jones. He was bursting to get his promo started, and then it was just more of the same from the week before. But when I say more of the same, it was good, but it was also, he was just saying a lot of the time it was almost saying the same stuff, and it was really off-putting. I also saw Paul Jones on at least 2 occasions calling spots to Pez, tell him to wrap it up, and also he told him to talk about, was it to tell him to talk about Valiant, or to talk about the Crockett Cup or something along those lines.
Man, I have to go back and watch that. I'm a terrible host for missing that. Wow.
Sean, you must have been writing notes or something about it, because when you see it, when you see it, you can't miss it.
Okay.
It's pretty, because one of them he pretty much doesn't whisper in his ear, but basically shouts at him. So there's at least 2 occasions, maybe even 3. It was a bit off-putting. Paul Jones tried to steal the thunder of our new MVP, Shaska Watley.
Wow. All right. Well, that's good insight. Yeah. So I guess Jones has to be Watley's keeper. I guess those cocaine midgets could do some damage. So I enjoyed it. I didn't get to talk about his turn on Valiant last month, and we get a lot. Watley is just freaking insane throughout this whole feud, and his promos usually do go a little south, but definitely an interesting feud that, again, anytime you can get interest in anything with Jimmy Valiant, it's a win for me. So, all right. So our last promo of the night before we get into our Crockett Cup Spotlight tonight is Jim Cornette. Pretty quick one. I like it. He talks about the Rock and Roll Express. They're desperate and they will never win the titles back. He says they are the dark to their light, which I thought was a really great
It's an amazing line.
An amazing line. Yeah, absolutely amazing. Then what else I really enjoyed about this, he calls out everyone in the Cup. And I love that he brings up their feud with the Fantastics and their history in Texas. I love he brings up the Fabulous Ones and their feud in Tennessee. Then he calls Garvin and TA the most offensive team in wrestling. And he says the Midnight Express is the greatest, and they're going to get $1 million, Richard. And with that cup, I thought this was a great cup sell. I thought it was a great throwback to name some of the teams that the Express feuded with pre-Crockett, and really setting fire that Rock and Roll Express, Midnight Express dynamic. I mean, it was short and sweet to the point, but this is just a freaking brilliant promo. Cornette was just amazing with this promo. So, G, I will go to you first. What did you think of this short Cornette promo?
Love him or hate him, he's just good at what he does, and he makes the Midnight Express out the way he talks about them and markets them like they're the greatest thing on the earth. It's just amazing. He makes two guys that really not big guys or anything, especially with some of the other tag teams, but made them feared, made them like they were the best thing going today. That's not to steal from Ric Flair, but that was a team that could not do it well on the mic, that just needed Jim Cornette, and Jim Cornette was perfect. And I don't think the Midnight Express, not to take anything away from the way those guys wrestle, but I don't think they would have been the tag team that they are, or that they wind up being, without Jim Cornette.
Yeah, I don't disagree. At all. Let's see who is up next. Colin, what did you think of his short promo?
I thought it was excellent. I got the first thing that came to my mind, rightly or wrongly, when I was listening to this, was the scene in Goldmember, if you remember it, where no, not in Goldmember, the first Austin Powers, and they just call back, and Dr. Evil says to Austin, "We're not so different, you and I." And that's what I got here. So Jim Cornette is basically is coming across as two sides of the same coin. So I think it was just excellent. Like we're the dart to your line. I think it was as you said, it was a superb line. Just making them as equals, and they'll never get the better of them. I also liked that he went through. Jim Cornette went through the different teams that the Midnight Express have faced in the different territories, like the Fabulous Ones and the Fantastics, and telling Crockett fans who might not have seen a lot of them, and I don't know how well known the Fabulous Ones and the Fantastics would have been to Crockett at this point in time, but basically letting them know that I'm the manager of the best tag team in the world, and these guys ran us really, really close. But that's telling them for the Crockett Cup, these are the teams that you want to watch out for, and they're not just random guys that we're having to bring in to make up the numbers. They're real challengers. I thought that was excellent as well, and it goes back to something that I noticed quite early from watching these things, is that the heels and the heel managers will complement in a roundabout way the other guys, which makes them feel like a big deal. Unlike today, where you just bury them for no reason whatsoever. I'm better than you, and everyone knows that. No, the Fantastics are a very, very good team. You just haven't seen them yet.
Yep, and we're going to talk about them here coming up. And before we go to that, Schiff, the dark and the light comment, as a fellow comic book nerd, it kind of reminded me of Doctor Strange What If, where you get the good Doctor Strange and the evil Doctor Strange. Really, they're kind of like what Colin said, they're both one and the same. So I thought that was really good.
Yeah, and, it was just, it's a line that should be stolen now, and I don't think anyone could be mad. Like, could you imagine Roman Reigns saying, like, he is the dark and Brock Lesnar is the light, or vice versa? Or hell, even Edge and AJ Styles, or CM Punk and MJF? That would fit perfect in any of these feuds in my mind. And it's such a good line. This shows how good of a talker, like Callum was saying, Cornette is, and Dr. G. Like, the Midnight Express would have just been like two, because, Bob, it's not like Bobby Eaton can cut a promo. Only times I've heard him talk, he has like marble mouth. So Cornette made these teams what they are, and he's just, love him or hate him, I know he's difficult in the past like 6 years, but in 1986 he is just awesome on that mic.
Yep, I agree. So that ends the April 5th stuff as we know it. So we do have two Crockett Cup spotlights to talk about tonight. As you know, we've been doing a series of teams that are featured in the Crockett Cup that we maybe haven't seen or maybe haven't talked about. So we have two for tonight. And our first one brings back our favorite Wahoo McDaniel with Mark Youngblood, as those two will be teaming in the Cup. And they will be facing who are the current tag team champions in this match, Bob Orton and Don Kernodle. This is actually from mid-February of 1984. So an interesting matchup. So I'm curious what you guys think. I would probably go out on a limb here and probably say that I might have liked it way more than you, but I could be wrong. So the Orton team, like I said, they're the champs, and they come out with Gary Hart as who their managers. The crowd's absolutely hot for the faces. I thought the tag work between the faces in and out was pretty good. Later, Wahoo worked over the heels, but Wahoo was worked over by the heels, but Wahoo fights back with, you guessed it, chops. Mark tags in and goes to town on Kernodle. All four end up in the ring. Mark rolls up Don Kernodle as ref is tied up with Wahoo, and Orton clothesline him, and Kernodle reverses to roll up for 3, which I thought was a pretty good move. Jay Youngblood, who was on commentary, runs in to tell the ref what happens. Young restarts the match. By the way, this is non-title, by the way. All four start beating each other again. Wahoo stiff chops Don twice off the ropes. Heels get control on Mark Youngblood, who keeps fighting back, which I thought he had really good face shine in this. I like the Kernodle spot where he lifts Mark on his shoulders and drops him neck first on the top rope. Kernodle later runs into a Wahoo chop and into a Youngblood suplex for a surprise 3. The crowd goes nuts. The heel lose it, and then they beat down the faces, including Jay, who takes a savage knee to the face from Kernodle as Orton bent him on his knee. It looked really, really awesome. Sorry, guys, if you didn't like it. I thought this was really, really good. I love the heel work, and I thought Youngblood 100% carried the babyface team. I actually went 3 stars on it, and
Wow.
I'm telling you, I thought this was a great old school mid-'84 match, and I thought Youngblood looked good. I thought the heels looked good. I enjoyed it, and I know I'm going to be the probably high one on this, but I will go to Dr. G first. What did you think of this match?
I wasn't as big a fan of you, but I give it a 2.5. I mean, it was okay. I'm just not getting it with Wahoo. I have to go on the Callum side on this one.
Yeah, I agree. I think Youngblood 100% carried the face team.
No doubt.
Sure. Yeah.
No doubt. And Orton and Kernodle, I don't remember them as a team together.
I didn't either. I remember Orton and Slater and then Kernodle with Ivan, but I didn't remember these two being tag.
And Kernodle also with Slaughter, too.
Yeah, so I don't remember any of this.
They actually worked pretty well as a team together, I thought.
Kernodle is just interesting to me in general because he just looks like the Uncle Bob that got out of the recliner, and he just doesn't look like a wrestler, but he's really good. I don't get it.
But no, it was entertaining. I mean, I'm not gonna shit on it or anything like that. But I didn't think it was worthy of 3 stars. But 2.5 stars. It was just a good match that I didn't feel like I wanted to turn it off. But I guess maybe I wasn't invested in any of the any of the 4 wrestlers. Although I was kind of impressed with Orton and Kernodle, but Wahoo Mark Youngblood didn't really do much for me, so maybe that's probably it. But 2.5 stars, I'll go on it.
All right. So Scott, clearly you didn't like the match, so go ahead.
No, I went 2.25 stars. So we're not too far off. I was just shocked that that's how much you gave it. With that, I thought that Youngblood played a great...
I really liked the Orton Kernodle team. There was something about their heel work that I really enjoyed. So that's part of it.
Oh, okay. I thought Youngblood played a great babyface in Peril. And was this the Youngblood that was the teammate with Ricky Steamboat, or was that his brother?
I think I have to.
Sorry.
I have to think through that. I want to say it was his brother, or maybe it was Mark. I don't know.
That was Jay, was it not?
Yeah, it was Jay. I thought it was Jay. Yep.
My apologies.
He was the guy on commentary that got the knee at the end.
Yeah, he was pretty annoying because he was complaining for no reason. It's not like the heels were cheating when he was complaining. And I will say that Orton had a great stomp to Youngblood about halfway through the match. And Youngblood got the win with a suplex. I enjoyed it. But the knee to Jay Youngblood from the top was pretty awesome. Mm-hmm. So like I said, I was just shocked. I thought it was just a basic match, but I really enjoyed it, even though it had Wahoo in it. But he was okay as the heavy, pretty much.
Yeah. So, Callum, unfortunately, I wish we had gotten Orton and Kernodle in the Crockett Cup, but we do have Wahoo and Youngblood in it. But what did you think of this match?
It was fine. It wasn't great, but it wasn't bad. It was perfectly fine. I've gone 2.25. I'm with Schiff on this one. Again, very questionable refereeing again. Restarting the...
Mm-hmm.
My point on this one is restarting the match on someone's word. Fair enough. We all make mistakes. It's always, it's not there's no shame in making the mistake. There's shame in not learning from your mistake. However, I do feel that if Tommy Young was to have Ric Flair or Tully Blanchard come down to the ring to say Ron Garvin cheated, would he restart the match? Probably not. So just because it's Jay Youngblood, it's okay. I think there should be an internal inquiry about some of the decisions that the guys make. All I'm saying. The match was good for the fact that it was Youngblood that was taking the heat, and he was the babyface in Peril because it kept Wahoo on the apron. The match takes a nosedive any time that Wahoo gets involved. I thought the post match was great. The decapitation device or the demolition device or whatever the move was called in the WWF. I genuinely thought it was going to take his head off. I mean, it was
a great move. Looked really good.
That was disgusting. It looked horrific. So yeah, perfectly fine. It was not offensive in any way, shape, or form.
All right. Well, I'm the high one on that one again, so it seems to be the theme tonight. So our next spotlight match, the Fantastics, who we heard earlier on Jim Cornette bring up. We already had a match with the Sheepherders that we spotlighted, so now we're going to spotlight the Fantastics. So, and this is, they're out with Jack Victory, and this is for the Universal Wrestling Federation Tag Team titles. This actually happened on 4/6/86. And as we all know, because you guys covered this, the Sheepherders won the belts on episode 35 of this spotlight that you guys covered from Steve Williams and Ted DiBiase. So it's only been a few weeks since then. JR and Bill Watts are on commentary. The crowd is absolutely hot for the Fantastics, who hold up flags to piss off the heels. Watts puts over the upcoming Crockett Cup. I also like how he sells the Sheepherders and how they are used to power opponents like Williams versus the speed of the Fantastics, and that throws them off. So I thought that was a nice little tie in there. The Fantastics dominate the first 8 minutes of the match with quick tags and great teamwork. The Sheepherders take control for a short time, but the Feasts up their game on offense with quick tags, monkey flips, and drop kicks. Finally, Rogers is tossed outside. The heels take turns working him over with slams, knees, and keep knocking Rogers outside. Rogers fights his way back in and slides between one of the Sheepherders' legs and gets the hot tag to Fulton. All four end up in the ring. Luke sends Rogers outside, and Victory beats him up as the Sheepherders double team Fulton in the ring. They throw Fulton into the ropes at the same time. Tommy leaps to the top rope, and a drop kick setting heels into each other. Fulton runs at Rogers, who press slams Fulton up and onto Butch for the 3. And we have new champs, which, again, they had just won the tag team titles a few weeks back, and now we Fantastics are new champs yet again. Good shit. I did go 3 stars on this. I really, really enjoyed it. And for those of you who might not know, Sheepherders and the Fantastics have a really great feud in the UWF, and this is kind of the, spotlighting of the beginning. But I really, really enjoyed this match. Scott, what about you?
I really enjoyed this match as well. And you didn't even mention the best part of this match. Fantastics came out the sharp dressed man.
Oh, how dare? Well, that's Jimmy Garvin gimmick infringement, so I didn't bring it up.
I know, but still, that's like one thing I love about the 80s. I guess this was before like all the
music rights
and stuff.
Yep.
People just coming out to great shit. I mean, I know in the late 90s that like the Outsiders were coming out to the Fugees and on house shows and stuff, but it just awesome. I will say that I have here Bobby Fulton has one of the worst drop kicks I've ever seen, and then Tommy Rogers comes in and like nails just an amazing drop kick, and I said that Fulton should maybe take notes.
Tommy Rogers is very well known for his drop kicks. That's what
it was amazing here. And also the Sheepherders at the start of the match had great heat when they were calling for silence while they salute the New Zealand flag. Just I love easy heel heat like that, which is pretty amazing because I doubt any of those hillbillies in Oklahoma and the Tulsa area could figure out where New Zealand is on the map. So just going heel tonight, guys. Sorry. But no, I love this match so much. And, just the Sheepherders, which becomes, seeing them so rough around the edges. And then when we see them in WWF and they're licking the side of people's faces, it's quite the turn here. But it's probably better for their bodies and their paycheck. But I gave us 3 stars as well. Just an amazing match. Like, I stopped taking notes because I got too caught up in the match. Like, my last note is hot tag to Bobby Fulton.
Yep, not the last we'll see of the Sheepherders at a spotlight match either. So we'll get more of them on our next episode. So I'm pretty excited about that. Colin, what did you think of this match?
Is it wrong to say that it's utterly fantastic? I mean, is that just a bit too close to the pun?
No, you're good.
Yes, all right. Excellent match. It's still jarring a bit to me to see the Sheepherders as the Sheepherders and not the Bushwhackers. Because as somebody who was sort of predominantly WWE centric for many years, to see them as these just goofballs is how I'm used to seeing them. Not these. They do still have some over the top things, certainly that I've noticed, but it's nowhere near what they would become. So it's a pleasant change, and it's I don't think I'm spoiling anything for anybody. The Fantastics are excellent. I'm with Schiff. I don't have any notes on this one at all. I just sat back and watched it, and that's when I know that it's a good. I've gone 3 I've gone 3 stars on this one. I thought it was excellent from start to finish, and again, just one for the soundboard. Excellent crowd reaction for the Fantastics. It's the crowds from the territory days everywhere just seem to be ridiculous.
All right. And Dr. G, close us out for this episode. What did you think of this match?
I went 3 stars as well. I agree. I love the heel heat. Scott, I'm right with you. I love just heel heat like that. Let me salute the flag, and and of course that's going to piss everybody off, and just easy heel heat. The Fantastics, boy, I tell you, I remember them being pretty popular. They never really reached the level of like a Rock and Roll Express or Midnight Express, but the fans loved them wherever they went. And Tommy Rogers was definitely known for his drop kick, which was awesome. And the Sheepherders, when you put them in there with good teams, their matches were pretty entertaining, to be honest with you.
I thought the one against Williams and DiBiase was pretty damn good too.
Yeah. I think they could go pretty well. I mean, even though they're bigger guys and probably more brawling type of guys, but they do a pretty good job, and they hang in there with it no matter what kind of team you put them in the ring with. And again, the crowd was very hot for this match, which definitely helps when you're watching it. So 3 stars, no problem on this one. I really did enjoy it, and same like you guys, I didn't really take too many notes on it. I kind of was just watching it and enjoying it.
Those are sometimes the best ones. So that's 2 more teams, the Fantastics and Wahoo and Youngblood, who will be in the Crockett Cup. Obviously, the Sheepherders are, and we'll actually see them again on our next episode against another team that's going to be in the Crockett Cup. So we're getting a lot of Sheepherders love watching them. So Wahoo and Youngblood, not so excited about. Fantastics and Sheepherders, I'm looking forward to what they bring to the table at the Crockett Cup when we get to that, when we start talking about that. All right, so guys, so that ends our episode. A lot of stuff happened. We talked about the house show that we had April 5th and April 6th. So you can see, like I said, April is pretty jam-packed because we only covered a couple days worth of stuff right here. So pretty good stuff. So we'll go right to our end of year award or end of episode awards. So the David Crockett Award, the best moment. I'm probably going to go for me the Ronnie Garvin angle with Tully beating him with the shoe. Schiff, what did you think?
I agree. That was a hell of a thing, and it sets up possibly something that's probably going to happen later down the line with Garvin and Tully matches, and also impacts the Crockett Cup.
All right, Callum?
Same here. I think it would. I think it has to be, as you said. It leads to some interesting things down the line. All right,
Dr. G?
I'm going to go with that as well. I think all the stuff that we watched was good stuff. Obviously you could the Orton Morton Flair. Mm-hmm. You could go there, but there was only that short promo, so there was not much on it. So I think you got to go because Arn and Garvin were really hot. I think they were the hottest thing that we watched in terms of storyline. Mm-hmm.
All right, our Arn Anderson promo award, hands down for me, it was Jimmy Valiant. Or not, God, I did the same thing. Jimmy Garvin cutting his promo on Wahoo McDaniel. Colum, what's your favorite promo tonight?
Well, you could easily go with that one for the sort of
just for pure entertainment purposes. It was very entertaining to me. So.
Well, I was going for the layers that have been added. Yes. To it with the equine infectious anemia, but I'm going to go for Jim Cornette.
And that's fair. I do not blame you one bit for that one. Dr. G?
Ooh, I had a tough time with this because I did really enjoy the Jimmy Garvin promo, but I think I'm going to have to go with Callum because Cornette was just phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, if you go for the seriousness part of it and the things that he brought up in it, you definitely have to go with Cornette. Schiff, what did you think?
This is how good the promos were tonight. I'm going with Magnum TA.
Wow. Okay.
I really enjoyed that promo.
Yeah.
It showed some ferociousness to him and sets up a possible Russian chain match.
Well, what's interesting is
it's made in America. Sean, I don't know if you knew that or not.
No, he said made. No, he said steel.
Steel made in America. Sorry.
Yeah, I didn't get that reference. But anyway, I get it, but at the same time, seemed kind of out of left field. But what's interesting is none of us picked the promo for the man who's named after Arn Anderson tonight. So that tells you how good the promos were tonight. It's pretty interesting. The Dusty Broken Leg Angle Award. Obviously, the best angle for me was Garvin and Tully, leading to what's happening there. Dr. G, what did you think?
Totally agree with you.
All right, Column.
I went for Magnum and Nikita on this one with the sort of hanging angle in the video.
Good. Yeah, that's a great one too. Schiff.
Sorry, this is a lot.
Tough one.
I'm gonna go with Callum.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. The TA award, best match. I really like that Dusty Flair, but at the end of the day, I went with Arn and Garvin. Scott.
I'm gonna go with the Fantastics.
Wow. Okay.
Because I really enjoyed that match.
All right. Column.
MVP.
No. Best match.
Oh, best match. Sorry. I mean, we're spoiled for choice in this one.
I love those choices.
I Flair Dusty. I'm going to go.
Flair Dusty. Yeah, it's a tough one. Yeah, absolutely. Dr. G.
I think my highest score was the Arn and Garvin match.
Wow. So definitely some split decision there. The Wahoo LVP award for me, hands down, 5-time referee of the bullshit, Tommy Young. Scott.
Yeah, as one of our esteemed colleagues said, Tommy Young can get the fuck.
Yeah, I mean, I could easily say Wahoo too, but I feel Tommy Young's very well deserving. Column. It's kind of got to be Wahoo, but I just needed to throw Tommy Young in it.
I'm happy to throw my hat. I don't know. I'm happy to throw everything behind Tommy Young. At this point, I had Wahoo. No.
Okay. Dr. G.
Yeah, I was having a hard time between Wahoo and Tommy Young, but you know what? You kind of swayed me. Let's go Tommy Young. He annoyed me. So.
All right. The Valiant Award for worst match, I went with Tully and Wahoo. Anybody say different on that one? Even though I liked it, I still worst match for me.
It was terrible.
Yeah.
Yep, that was my worst match as well.
All right, and then the last one, the MVP of the show. That's a tough one, man. You know what? I'm not going to say. I'll go to Scott first. Who was your MVP?
I'm gonna go with Magnum.
Interesting. So that one short promo. Excellent. Okay.
Well, the promo and like he had like that match. I know the ending was shit, but I really enjoyed like that Nikita match.
All right, Dr. G.
I think I'm going with Scott because Magnum, the match was really good. His promo was really good. Yeah, I'll go with Magnum.
All right, Column.
Again, tough one. Spoiled for choice in this one. I am going to have to go with Arn Anderson though.
Yeah, I'm with you. He had the promo, then he had the match, and then he had that after match beatdown with Tully on Garvin. I'm gonna go with
It was
Arn
tough.
Anderson. Yeah, it was very
tough.
Listen, in general, like the categories tonight were tough because I think we had a lot of good potpourri diversity in the night show, and there was some good, there was some bad, there was some great. So April starting off hot for me, so I'm pretty excited to get into it and keep talking about it as we move forward. So that does it for April of part 1. Our next episode obviously will be April part 2. We will continue to talk about April, where we'll take a look at April 12th, 1986, and we'll highlight a couple more people that are in the tag team tournament for the Crockett Cup. So before we go, Dr. G, anything you would like to plug?
Yep, you can listen to me on the NWA Saturday special. It drops every Saturday, except for occasionally we'll do a Sunday depending on our schedule. But for the most part, it's every Saturday. We break down the current NWA, and things are heating up as we head into the Crockett Cup. So we're looking forward to that on the 19th and the 20th. And I know we'll have Twitch feeds on both days, and our pal Callum will take care of all that. So we look forward to we'll pump that up as we get closer, but we're looking forward to it. And I can be reached on Twitter at Dr. GPTB.
All right, excellent. Colin McDougall.
Yes, you can hear me on the Special Relations podcast every month with my good chaps Ben and Rory. I am talking all things, whatever comes into our head, approximately an hour before we go on air. I am one of the contributing voices on PTB and Pedestal. You can hear me a few times in the next couple of months on that. And as Dr. G said, we're on the Twitch channel, YouTube channel, anything video content related. And we'll be doing that for the upcoming Crockett Cup. Both nights for the Crockett Cup. And both nights for WrestleMania as well. If I can get any takers from the home crew for that one. So you can find them on twitch.tv/Place to Be Nation, Place to Be Nation, all one word, on YouTube, PTBN Live on Facebook, and at PTBN YouTube on the Twitter.
All right. Thank you, Colin. And Scott.
Yeah, I can be found on Twitter at Scott_Shiflet. And starting to pick up the podcast once again. We got YouTube Roulette with Sean, Logan Crossland, Matt Souza, and Jake Williams. Pop Goes the Couch. We're taking a little bit of a break right now, but we'll be hitting it back up with Moon Knight. That's with Tim, Sean Kidd, and AA Andy Atherton. Battlestar in the 25th Century. We'll have a special episode coming soon with me and Sean. And check out PTB and Pedestal, which is just a roundtable of people. I may not be on every one, but there's other people here in the Place to Be Nation family that will go in and we'll rank our favorite matches and see if they are if they're worthy of being on the pedestal.
Yeah, excellent. It seems like you're plugging all my pods, and I've taken a break from some of them, so I'm popping in here and there. A couple things. Yeah, that Battlestar episode we won't talk about. That'll probably be the most ridiculous one we've ever done, Scott, when we get done with it. But yeah, YouTube Roulette, that's definitely a fun one to do, where we just pick like 4 random matches off YouTube and watch it. So that's always a fun one. Highway to the Impact Zone, where we are looking at 2005 TNA. That is also a great one. Wrestling's Chicken Salad, the next episode that I think will drop the day after this pod, I assume, will be Uncensored 95. I like to call it a very special chicken salad because Jennifer Smith is on that one, and I think everybody in the Place to Be Nation knows that's her favorite pay-per-view of all time, and there might be some pushback on that from a certain someone who's speaking as we speak. So that's definitely an interesting one. Pedestal, yeah. So the latest Pedestal that just dropped last week when you're hearing this, it was me, Matt, Souza, and Ben Locke. We talked about Flair versus Terry Funk from Bash 89, one of my all-time favorite matches, so that's a great one. And yeah, all the rest of the pods that were brought up here tonight. So with that, I am Sean Kidd for Dr. G, Colin McDougall, and Scott Shiflett. We will see you in 2 weeks for part 2 of April of 1986. Thanks, everyone.